So this panel will be on title. It's The Great Wealth is Created by Human Beings and Also Destroyed by Human Beings. I think this is going to be a very, very interesting panel to listen to. So moderating this panel, Vera Boissier, founding partner of Circle 7 Capital Family Office. Vera, I will leave the stage for you and your guests. Please.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be again speaking to you on this subjects of human capital, wealth. So we had yesterday the Eternal Flame, then we had the fire chat, so next to the and I hope this time is going to be a firework, because we are going to address issues which are linked to the concept of creation, and it is very inspiring. And I have a very inspiring panel next to me. I have Elena, Ron, Prince Michael, and Count von Bismarck. And I would like that they introduce themselves for a couple of minutes before we shoot. So please, Elena, she's a first-generation entrepreneur. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Thank you very much for having me being. Hello, everybody. It's very tough to be after the lunch on the second day, so I hope that we will keep you entertained. My name is Elena Tarasenko. I live in Russia. Can I just show you the picture of my family? This is my mother, who is a professor of mathematics, and my father is also professor of mathematics. And that was a joke from my family. If you speak to men audience, you have to be precise, very precise, straight to the point, just win the hearts. However, if you speak to the female audience, you should be mysterious and vague, and you can see clearly my mom speaks to men, my father is trying to charm the women. And given nice diversity of this audience, I'd like to be straight to the point. So, I'm coming from reinsurance business, very tough, pale male club. I'm the first generation. I've been awarded by EY as an Entrepreneur of the Year in 2014, Entrepreneurial Winning Woman somewhere else. Other than being on reinsurance side and running my company, I'm also involved with Imperial College London. I'm a mathematician by background, as you see from my family. I haven't had any choice. So I'm with Imperial College London doing research as associate, a fellow professor at FinTech Laboratory, mathematical models. And as soon as you speak to decision makers, you're involved in so many interesting things and opportunities, especially empowered by technology and fourth industrial revolution. That's who I am, and I pass the word to my fellow Ron.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to my distinguished panelists and the distinguished audience. I thank you for having put your trust in me, for sharing what I actually believe is safe space, but I will go beyond safe space into sacred space. As a brief introduction, my name is Ron Chandiramani from the Almeidas International Group. I don't run anything, and I also don't run away from anything. What happens is, we happen to be there, and I have since my young years, since my youth, understood one phenomena, that God does not call the qualified. God qualifies the called. So when something is put into my lap, I just take it as DD, which the world believes is due diligence, but I look at DD as divine design. If it has come to you and you have been called, you have nothing to worry. He has called you, and he will qualify you for the job. We'll talk about the space, the governing laws, and everything. But before I continue, I'll pass it on to the next panelist.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Vera. It's really great to be here with many familiar faces, many friends, and a few new ones. Thank you very much, Anthony, because you've done a great job at gathering us all together. It's great. So, for those who don't know me, I'm Prince Michel of Yugoslavia. I'm privileged to be the grandson of the last king of Italy and the last regent of Yugoslavia. I'm very privileged to be born in this family because it gives me access to the whole planet. And it's something we grew up with since we were young, even though we lost power because those two countries are no more monarchies. But the legacy goes on, and I think we're going to talk about legacy today and the importance of the past, of the history that continues into the future. So I'm very happy to be on this panel, and I hope I can bring some information to all of you.
Yes, hello. My name is Eduard von Bismarck. They call me Kalle. It's kind of a nickname because my grandmother is Swedish. It's the third time I do this panel. I did Monaco and I did October, I did Dubai. And it's interesting and great fun, especially with my friend Michel. We know each other since childhood. And to come to my family, it is a big name that I live with. The Bismarck name in Germany is known all over the place because he was the first unifier of Germany. There's a lot of streets named after him, etc., etc. Sorry, my voice is a bit gone because I was in Sao Paulo for 3 weeks, air-conditioned, 40 degrees. It was just horrible. But it's going to come back. Anyway, so my father is Prince Bismarck. He's 88. Unfortunately, he's got very strong dements, but he's not running the family anymore. My younger brother is running the estate, which is a castle close to Hamburg. And I am the oldest son. I've been living there for 15 years. I was in German Parliament 7 years. I started with Miss Merkel, and I do my own business. I consult special companies, but we'll get to that later. Otherwise, just to come back to the name, it is a very, very big name in Germany. There's a lot of British people who know the name, but they always say, sink the Bismarck, which has nothing to do with us. It's got something to do with the battleship, but that has nothing to do with us. Anyway, that's it from me.
Thank you very much, all of you. So in this panel, we strongly believe that at the origin of financial wealth and businesses, the intellectual, human, social, sometimes artistic and symbolic capital is really, really key. So for us, wealth doesn't mean only financial capital. And the human side, as we know and we have seen in the title of this speech, is absolutely key. So I have here first generation entrepreneur, Elena, and also Ron. And I would like to ask the two of you, so where did the energy come? And how have you been able to foster and to materialize your human capital into a business? So what is your secret weapon? Elena, maybe.
Thank you. For me, it's very simple, and I will be very precise and very short. I love to meet new people, and I love to explore new opportunities. This wow factor, to be open to the world. You're open to the world opens to you. This is very important. And being able to make conscious decision, when it comes to decision, it should be due to luck. It should be a conscious decision whether to pursue or not to pursue this opportunity. So outstanding people give me a lot of energy, and this is the best source of energy for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elena. So Ran, you are the first generation, but in fact you are the first generation of wealth recreator because your father started a business and you have recreated something out of that. So can you please let us know where your energy and motivation came from?
Thank you, Vera. I learned from a very young age that there is a difference between wealth and riches. Wealth is what we think we create, which is your bank accounts, your mansions, your homes, your assets. Riches are your morals, your ethics, and your relationships. I focus more on creating riches, which you can carry with you in the hereafter. The wealth all will remain here. I think that the world is more focused on wealth and wealth creation, and in that they overlook that riches are permanent, wealth comes and goes. Wealth is like for fortuna. How you create it, you invite it. How do you invite it? Take it as a parking lot. If there is a clean parking lot and it looks safe, people will come and park there. And wealth is exactly the same way. It comes and parks itself there. And the moment you disturb that safe space, it goes away. You have no control over its coming, nor have you got any control over it going away. So what is then the secret of creating wealth and riches? If you actually harmonize and integrate both, that if you are rich, wealth comes to you. If you are wealthy, you are not necessarily rich. You will only invite wealth to come and tease you. It will park, and when it goes, all misery starts. The whole fundament of being wealthy comes from being rich from within. And when we talk about safe space, we can sit in a bunker, whether that's the Pentagon, and we think we are safe because the walls are 18 feet thick maybe, but there is one space which cannot actually be sheltered by any bunker. And this is your mind, your thoughts. If you cannot create safe space within your thoughts, then it doesn't matter in which bunker you sit. You are not safe. You have to create sacred safe space. How do you create sacred safe space? With governance. And we think governance, due diligence, and all that. The real governance, which is most overlooked, is between our ears. That space is the governance of your thoughts. If your thoughts are right, everything will be right. And then you do not need a bunker anymore or safe space. The entire space in creation and the cosmos becomes your shield. To do that, we don't have to go and look for it outside us, where we talk so much about the law of attraction. The law of attraction actually means that it's outside you, you have to attract it into you. But there's a law which is higher than the law of attraction. That's the law of manifestation. We see that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and God thought, let there be light. And that was the tool with which he created light. Where did that tool find its place to work? In thought. So everything in creation is created only once, in thought. The second time, it's not creation anymore, it's a manifestation. It just manifests what you have thought. So we have to be most careful with what we think. Which thoughts do we allow in that safe space to keep it and maintain it as sacred space? Governance, we see what is disturbing the planet today. We have to go to the root of the problem. Albert Einstein, as a matter of fact, said that if we try to cure a problem by using the same method, it will never work. As an example, if you get malaria, you're not going to the mosquito for your cure. You have to find how do you cure yourself from malaria or for anything that has afflicted it. Looking at where is the origin of all the turmoil, we have to look back if we want to cure it or suppress it. If you want to cure it, you have to go to the root where it started. And I truly believe it started 150 years ago with the Darwinian theory, which says survival of the fittest. Essentially, survival of the fittest means for you to survive, you have to be the fittest, so everyone else must die for you to survive. But then I beg the question, are we here merely to survive, or can we all collectively together thrive? That's a choice, to survive or to thrive. And I think time will run short, so I will just pass on, and if Vera comes back to me, I will continue. Michel?
No, thank you very much. Just very briefly, because you touched the subject of survival, I would just like to come to Elena because she has a theory, and then we will dedicate more time to the dynasties and to tell us how, what are the challenges for family dynasties who have been there for a generation to survive. But just, I would like Elena to, because you gave me such a wonderful opportunity to bounce back on the theory of survival. Please.
Thank you. Yeah, I promised Vera that I'll be entertaining you with stories because I love game theory, which is a part of mathematics, and I love biology. So there is behavioral biology, which is one of my favorite topics. So let me tell you a story. Okay, it doesn't work? Yes. You see these fox, which lives in Siberia. And the fox is a wild enemy. It's very tough to get it. From whatever reason, human beings decided that the fur coat from these foxes is very valuable. So a guy who lived in Siberia, a biologist, decided to tame this fox. So he has a recurrent profit. But he was a biologist, a doctor. So it took only 20 years, 35 generations, to tame this wild enemy into that puppet. Look at that. They're so cuties. Give me one of them. Give me 100 of those. They are licking into the face. They are wagging the tail. They are bringing your slippers. That wild enemy turning into that puppet in such a short time. This is not wolf turning to dog. This is a fox, a wild fox turning to puppet. But let me be serious for a moment. If we are allowing our social media to be dependent on likes, and the only trait that the biologist was taming these wild animals was infantility, which is dependence. Dependence, behavioral threat, not genetics, not a pill, not a secret weapon, behavioral threat, which is infantility. He was choosing these offspring for infantility. So if we allow social media to tame us for likes, if we allow elite schools to put our kids into the bubble, and then when our kids are taking our businesses, should we then be surprised that there are lots of sharks who are more adjusted to the environment and to the real life? So this is something to think about, and this is the monument to this guy. This is Dr. Belyaev. It's put in Siberia. I believe in some years it could be like social media taming a man or a human being. So we are creating bubbles ourselves, and this is our responsibility to create a remedy for that. And for that reason, I believe we should stick together and empower each other with sharing the competencies, with sharing the stories, with sharing the way how we would survive in this environment.
Thank you very much, Elena. So now I would like to talk to the long family dynasties, and we know that there are very few statistically, and that it's extremely hard to maintain this family flame and energy. So as Elena said, it's very important to stay together, and if families start to fall apart, human beings have bad behavior, it's the end of the family. So for you, Count Bismarck, how would you define your family, and what keeps you together? What is maybe an example of symbolic capital? What is keeping you together, and in order to continue your family legacy for over generation?
Well, I'd like to start with the theme, great wealth is created by human beings and destroyed by human beings. In our family, the great wealth was not created by a human being, it was created by my great-great-grandfather by reunifying Germany in 1871. The emperor gave him as a gift a huge property, the biggest forest in northern Germany, over 14,000 hectares, which is a lot, a castle, etc., etc., etc. That's where the wealth came from, because before, my great-great-grandfather he was not a peasant, but he was not rich. He didn't have any money. Yep. So that's how the wealth started. So suddenly we had all this real estate in Germany, we had all that. And then came the next prince, which was his son, and the next one. And so now we're fourth generation. And we tried to keep it together, but obviously forest is not a thing you make a lot of money with. Our main wealth comes from the name. We do a lot of licensing. We do water. With Nestle, we sell over 800 million bottles a year, which is a lot, and we get a license. We do cigars, we do vodka, we do champagne. All of that licensed. That means we make money with the name. But how would I describe our family? It's a big family. Okay, my grandfather, my grandmother died. My parents are still alive. but they're getting older and older. And I'm the oldest son, and I will be I'm the future prince. I have a son who's now 12. He will be the future prince, but that doesn't mean much because I am Bismarck Consulting. What does that mean? I do business outside of our property. I consult companies, I consult governments, having been in German parliament, having been in charge of Israel for 5 years. I went there over 90 times. And I was actually just in Brasilia on the 1st of January for the inauguration of Bolsonaro together with Netanyahu. So I do business now with Brazil. I'm a good friend of Macri in Argentina, and I connect people through my connections. And I get obviously consulting fees. That's how I make my money. Unfortunately, I travel a lot. My wife is half Italian, half Brazilian. She's special. But she makes her money her way because she speaks a lot of languages, she loves art and all that, and we kind of work together. But my consulting is by using my network, my contacts. I don't use Facebook. I don't use any of that stuff, Instagram, etc., because I do some, let's say, a business as well with some companies, some countries where I'm just not allowed to do that. I use a BlackBerry, not an iPhone, because BlackBerries are more secure, and that's the way I work. I mean, of course I get money from the family, from the licensing and all that, but it's a big family, but everybody in this family, except my father, who's 89 now, the rest is they're doing their own business, real estate, golf courses, etc. That's how we work. But we're still friends, so how do you call it? We're still a family.
So you are still a family of affinity, and you have really very well illustrated the fact that each family member is recreating in his own way and is a wealth creator. So that's an amazing example. So now Prince Michael of Yugoslavia, also what I found amazing in your family story is that you also come from a very important dynasty, big family, and the challenge is to find its own safe space, his place, to be able to contribute to the family and to create. And I think also the creative capital is very important in the family. This is something I would like if you can share with the public about your passion and your...
Sure, with pleasure. Creative capital is a bit what we have left, because if you look at the Italian family that starts from the 8th or 9th century, we had, let's say, not one castle, but probably 100 castles. And then with the Republic, they took everything away from us. In Yugoslavia, we had a bit less, much less, because it was a much younger monarchy and 1 or 2 castles, so everything was gone. So fast forward to today, what do we have? We are a smaller family because we're about 25 members. With extended cousins, we maybe go to 100, but which is not that much. And so we all had to start working, and we are more creative. I mean, I have a brother who does jewelry. I have a brother who's a consultant. I do consultancy. I work with family offices, with Vera. And one thing that we have creative is arts. So we grew up with arts. We were patron of arts for centuries. And I think somewhere in my genes, it's still there. I have a passion, which is photography. And through this passion, I do exhibitions in many, many countries. And this is a way to put people together who sometimes wouldn't want to talk because of differences they have. But if I invite them to see an exhibition, they will come. I can bring countries, I can bring ideas. And this shows you the power of exactly what you're saying. It's like a force on top of all of us. It's a bit like what you were saying about safe, you put things in order, and things happen. So I'm very blessed to be able to have this tool.
So I think it's wonderful because you have all in your way given an illustration of the different forms of capital, of the spiritual, of the artistic, of the symbolic, and of the intellectual human capital. And what brings us all together today is the social capital, the network, and that's thanks to Anthony. Thank you very much for bringing us together today. Thank you.